When I signed my deal, I felt pressure. Don't wanna see the numbers, I wanna see heaven. You say, could you write a song for me? I say, I'm sorry about you that I believe. When I go.
Hello guys, this is Anime Wizard 101 and I'm here with chapter 4 of Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic. And last time we ended off with Aladdin and Alibaba being in a brothel having a good time. And so let's get into chapter 4. So the way chapter 4 begins is actually Alibaba telling Aladdin a story about the first dungeon and how it was cleared. And then he states that the first dungeon appeared in the world 14 years ago, and how researchers and empires began to become curious about what was inside, because all there was only the only thing they could see from the outside was a shining light, but nobody ever got inside. And he says that 2,000 researchers and 10,000 soldiers from different empires went inside the dungeon to see for themselves because they were curious. And at the end of the story, he says that all of those people ended up dying, and only one person that came out was a young boy with this blue giant. That was a blue giant, and he was carrying a bunch of gold, and that's pretty much the story that Alibaba tells Aladdin. And he says how that boy is his hero because that boy later on ended up becoming a king of his own kingdom. And then from there, they're discussing about going to a dungeon, and Aladdin is like, which are we gonna go to the same dungeon? And Alibaba tells him that, well, we find out that they can't, because once a dungeon is cleared, it's cleared forever, and you can never go back to the same one because it disappears automatically. So Alibaba tells him that we're gonna go to a different one, and then he states that they're gonna go to dungeon number 7. It's called Amon, and because that's the closest one to where they're at. And from there on, Alibaba and Aladdin start to try to encourage each other to actually go to the dungeon and not back out. And as they start walking, once they finish talking, they're already at the front entrance of the dungeon. And the dungeon pretty much looks like a big palace, a big fancy palace, and nobody's around it at all. The stairs are empty. And then as Alibaba starts to pretty much back out from actually going, Aladdin gives him a few words of encouragement, because Alibaba states that those are the stairs to death, and Aladdin's like, no, those are not the stairs to death, those are the stairs to your dream. And that encourages Alibaba to go. And as soon as he hears that, they start running up the stairs, and then Alibaba turns back and he tells Aladdin that they can't go to the dungeon yet because they haven't bought the proper they haven't purchased or have any of the proper equipment to actually complete the dungeon. So they go back and they go to a shop and they try to go buy stuff for the journey. And then they're going to I think, what is it called, a blacksmith shop or something, because they go to a shop and all there is swords, different type of swords. And then Aladdin ends up grabbing this big ass blade that's like 3 times bigger than he is, and he starts waving it around, and Aladdin's like, be careful, and then Aladdin trips Alibaba, or pushes Alibaba back. And then there's one girl that's passing by and she's carrying a basket of fruit with her, and as Alibaba's tripping, she ends up bumping into the girl and trips her to the floor, and all the fruit goes down. And Alibaba ends up saying, "I'm sorry if you want to help you pick up the apples." And then he's thinking that the girl's really cute. Um, and then so he helps her out. He goes back to Aladdin, and Alibaba was like, "What are you staring at?" He finds that Aladdin staring at the girl's feet, and she has chains, and pretty much Alibaba explains that slaves are owned by the elite and wealthy and the nobles, and Aladdin ends up going next to her, and he pulls out the flute where Hugo is, and he plays, I'm guessing, a couple notes, and he ends up freeing her. Oh, he breaks the chains, and we see a panel where Alibaba is freaking out because he later says that, or one of the panels says that it's a serious crime to free a slave because it's the property of somebody else. They're treated as property pretty much. And that's pretty much how the chapter ends. My question today is, who's that boy that cleared dungeon number 1, and will we end up seeing him in the future? Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Comment down below and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.